All right, we're back in the studio to talk to a panel of folks from different organizations here in St. Louis that are heavily involved in the topics we're talking about tonight. Todd Antoine from Great Rivers Greenway and Jennifer Allen, TrailNet, and Ryan McClure from City Arch River. Let me start by going kind of big picture for a second. I want to know what you think St. Louis might look like in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years from now. First of all, we'll be very surprised that we live so long, I think 50 years. But once we get over that, what might we see? Will our city look different than it did? Will the amount of change be different than it was in those time periods previously?
Absolutely. I think that you will see a great amount of change here. 10 years is a blink of an eye, but I think if you look at 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you can really make a difference. I know from our perspective at Great Rivers Greenway, we are still moving ahead and building many miles of trails and greenways throughout the system in the region. So you'll see very soon, you'll be able to have folks who will be able to bike from St. Charles to downtown, from Alton to downtown, from South County to Maryland Heights, all that. I think what you're going to see too is I think you'll see more in terms of more transit, you'll see more interconnected development where neighborhoods and communities are more connected, trying to make the streets and the fabric of our communities better so that folks can be able to go out for more biking and walking and just getting out and enjoying all of the great parks and natural areas that we have.
Similar visions?
Yeah, a lot more connection. I don't want to repeat everything that Todd said, but I think the in-betweens between all of the different neighborhoods and the different districts that we've seen begin to redevelop, some of the poster children for that, Old North St. Louis, the Grove, Cherokee Street, Beyond Housing is doing work out in Pagedale, but it's like what's in between all of that. So I really think that along with the transit and trails, also on-street bike connections as well, I think we'll see a lot more.
Is this just going to happen because we're already growing and we're just on that trajectory, or is this something we have to be intentional about?
We have to be intentional.
Yes.
I'll let you guys speak too, but I think we're building a lot more collaboration as well. So there's definitely the political side of things, and there's so many needs. So how that balances out. So it's not going to just happen. But what I've seen, I've been working in St. Louis for 4 years now. That collaboration and partnership is really kicking off.
And I think that Tuesday's vote was really a sign that we can think regional. Voters in St. Louis County and St. Louis City got together and they decided, we're going to improve our region through better parks and trails and investing in the arch grounds. St. Louis County and St. Louis City, we can think as neighbors.
But as Nick and Jason and Amir brought up, we didn't think, or rather this particular vote wasn't representative of a larger region. Do we have to be more intentional about that?
Well, I think there have been conversations going on, not around the arch per se, but along all the museums that we have in the Zoo Museum District and whatnot. And I do think that eventually there's going to be conversations and action taken where we include more of the metropolitan area, both Missouri and in Illinois, to take advantage of the attractions that we have not only in the city and the county, but also throughout the greater region, and take greater appreciation and funding for the maintenance of those throughout the whole entire region.
What else needs to happen? I guess first let me ask, how big of an impact do you see this tax having on the things we're talking about here? Is this a lot of money, or is this just a little bit to get us by?
Well, from Great Rivers Greenway's perspective, this is a lot of money. This is essentially doubling the income that we take in. So it's going to have profound change upon the way that we work with a lot of different partners, communities, organizations to build the system, because we'll be able to really start to build more of it more quickly. So from our perspective, it's really transformative in terms of the amount of what we'll be able to do and really build more of the river ring system all throughout St. Charles, St. Louis, and St. Louis City.
And Prop P was definitely huge for the City Arch River project. It allows us to fund $90 million of the $380 million project. So it sets us well on our way. We had already gotten $69 million in federal, state, and local funding. $59 million has already been raised privately, and we'll have more by the end of May. So total $250 million will be funded privately for the arch grounds. But the public stepped up, and they said that this is something they want to invest in, and it's a big deal for the project.
What else do we need to do besides the tax? Is there something else, not just for the arch? You mentioned the private partnership, but do we need to be investing in any other ways? What other messages, what other stories, like Rachel was talking about, need to be sold? Is that the right word? I don't know.
Well,
I think that was 3 questions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the public-private partnership is huge, and if you look at the City Arch River project, I mean, it's a true partnership. It's a partnership with MoDOT, the City of St. Louis, National Park Service, Great Rivers Greenway. We can't do that project without partnership and collaborative working together. It's a beautiful thing to watch. And I think, all around the country, you see these public-private partnerships that are really getting projects like this done. And with, the National Park Service as an example, you've got Golden Gate Conservancy in San Francisco and the Trust for the National Mall. I think this is a growing trend.
What I was going to add is I think the user experience. So I think, if you think of someone visiting the Arch grounds, they've walked up to the Arch, they've touched it, and they're like, what's next? We want them to stay here a couple of days. And what's the ease with which they can go from all of the different neighborhoods we have? Can they hop on a bus and just wait 5 minutes? Can they get on a bike facility and go north? So I think that experience that goes beyond the Arch grounds, which is going to be a great experience when they're there, but it's the whole city and how they get to experience that. So I think learning to think that way in terms of districts and how people connect to those is really important.
Why is all of this important to our region? Is it important to our region? Is it important to our economy? Wouldn't it be better if we could just get another Ford plant back and more jobs? Or can this really do anything, what we're talking about, to make this place a better place to live?
You have to think about that. We're not just competing in St. Louis here with Des Moines and Kansas City or Indianapolis. We're competing against London, against Moscow, against Mexico City, in terms of creating a quality of life here in the region that attracts and retains not only the young people, but people of all ages here. And it's really important for us to really look at how we can build this network out and make really good quality places for folks, public places for them, if it's in their local neighborhood or in their local community park, or if it's at the Arch grounds. It's about making a great dynamic city work and function well so that we can be able to easily, from bike to walking to transit, being able to connect to all of it rather easily and making it a great place.
Are we a sustainable city? Are we a walkable city?
In some ways, yes. I
Really?
think, yeah, in some ways, yeah. I mean, we have different districts. I mean, if you think of the places where you take family and friends that visit, you're probably taking them to a fairly walkable place where you can go to a restaurant, do some window shopping and such. So again, I think it's connecting those places and filling in the gaps. So I was going to add to the comment about, why is this important to our economy? It's what people are demanding. So one fact that's really interesting is that the millennial generation that's in their 20s and 30s, because they're bigger than the generation before and after them, it's really critical in the next 5 to 10 years that we're able to retain and attract them. And they move to cities not based on job, it's this quality of life that we're talking about. So you can see the direct impact to our economy if we have the jobs available for them, et cetera.
Something that's come up on the show previously, and then again back to what we heard here from Rachel and what I was trying to ask you earlier, I think, but the idea of the story that we have to tell about ourselves. How important is what we're talking about to that story, and how do you tell that story to people who may not care or maybe voted against this tax?
Well, I think what you have to look at is how, as a community, as a region, we all live in St. Louis. We all love the city. We all love, the region that we're from here, and that we have to think about there are ways that we have to go and help to make a better quality of life for all of us. And there's people I've talked to that have told me, said, I don't go out and bike at all, but I appreciate the fact that option's out there for someone. Mm-hmm. It might be for my grandchild, or it might be for my neighbor or something, but that I appreciate the fact that trail is out in my community, and it's an option for people to use.
I can relate. I was excited to see the new bike path on the new bridge over the Missouri River out in the Chesterfield Valley, and I don't even own a bike, but it seemed exciting that it was there. I'm not the one being interviewed though, so please go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, I think St. Louis has a great story to tell. I mean, I think we as St. Louisans don't always do the greatest job of, we don't do it justice and have sometimes an inferiority complex about our city, but we just live in a place that is great already, but has so much potential. And I just think we just need to get better at telling that story.
I'm going to exclude you from this question because I think
Okay.
you've already answered it, but I want to know, did this passage signal any change in mindset or tell us anything about our citizenry?
Well, I think from my perspective at Great Rivers Greenway, we really felt that it's a way for us to really be able to do what we've been doing for the past 10 years, to really advance that. And I think it's a great testament to St. Louis to want to make that investment in its future.
I guess I'm just wondering if we're going to look, am I making too much of it to say, is this a time when we'll look back, and we started the conversation with the future, will we look back to this time and say, yeah, we chose in a bad economy to invest? Is it that significant, or am I making too much?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think it is significant. I think it's historians 50 years from now will look back at the decision that residents made back, earlier this week and say that was something that really was transformed the St. Louis region.